We'll
We shall
show off the
demonstrate
results
what
of our
we've learned
daily
in our
training
daily
and our
studies.
guts.
And
make
express
sure any
our
rotten
gratitude to
bad
our
guys out
families
there
by
see how
showing how
brave
much
and
we've grown
gutsy
over
we
the course
are.
of our
That way we can
education.
be sure this event creates fantastic, gutsy memories. And for any difficulties, hardships, obstacles, trials, or tribulations that dare stand in our way, we pledge to overcome it all with guts!
What was that?
This concludes our opening ceremonies.
Hello everybody, Megazord X here, and I'm back at it again to give y'all another exciting episode review over a certain scientific Railgun T, and I'm going to be going over and reviewing episode 2, the Daihasei Festival. And if y'all haven't already watched my episode 1 review over a certain scientific Railgun T, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner, check that video out, and then come back and check this one though. But man, overall, I got to say, you know what, a certain scientific Railgun T, so far, we hadn't gotten into the extreme heavy, plot focus part of the whole entire series though. But we're just having a good grand old time, having a good little few little chuckles here, get a little bit of teasing there, get to see some competitiveness, almost sort of kind of like what you would sort of kind of see or get that kind of vibe within a slice of life kind of anime though. But you know that the plot is coming up, so they're just slowly kind of inching us towards this and everything though. But overall, I thought this was just a fun, enjoyable episode. I really enjoyed it. The comedy was there and stuff, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to all the different sporting events that our girls are going to be participating in throughout this whole entire series, or at least this first entire arc as a whole though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get ready to dive up into this episode review of a certain scientific Railgun T. So the second episode picks up right where the first one leaves. Miss Konori visits Shirai at the hospital and asks her to get some more rest, and she even uses her own abilities to actually check on the injuries that she has and tells her that she still needs some time to heal. And Shirai gets all embarrassed about it and asks Miss Konori to stop using her abilities in the hospital. And based on the reactions that we got to see from Kuroko, Konori basically has an Esper ability that basically allows her to kind of see through different things. So basically she was kind of looking straight through her clothes and able to see the different kind of scars or different kind of injuries that she actually took on her physical body, which kind of explained why she was super embarrassed or whatnot though. And Konori was basically telling her to take it easy because Kuroko was really trying to see what all she could basically do, even in her beaten down state through her previous battles with her, fighting side by side with Misaka. She was still trying to do as many judgment things as she possibly could, and Konori was trying to tell her, hey, you really need to take it easy though. And that just goes to show and prove how much Kuroko really likes and enjoys her job being a member of Judgment and just trying to help out other people, even though through her own kind of physical pain of her being in the hospital, she just doesn't feel like being pinned down like this while she could be doing some work like that though. So that was really nice to kind of see throughout her character though. So meanwhile, at the Daihasei Festival, Sogita and Misaki take the stage to recite the opening athlete's pledge for the festival. At first, Sogita forgets a couple of his lines, but then he suddenly, gets an outburst of energy and he gets way too involved in his pledge recital. And oh gosh, just seeing this dude basically react like he was, giving out like a formal kind of speech, something that you really honestly prepared to do in front of a mass audience or whatever though. And how you might just be reading through a script or whatever though, and then you're trying to kind of remember stuff, and then it's oh man, once you forget what words are supposed to come next, you start to get the ad lib a little bit though. And this dude said, forget the script. He literally in his mind, he basically chunked that out the window and said, hey, all these members here that are gathered around to do this sports festival that will last about a week, hey, everybody's gonna give it their all. They're gonna show some guts. They're gonna have fire behind them. It's gonna be super exciting, super exhilarating. Everybody's gonna play with you know, with all the might that they have, and they're going to represent their schools proudly and strongly, though. And he started even using part of his Esper abilities to try to kind of, you know, excite the crowd or whatever, though, because he was really feeling that moment, though. And he basically, you know, let a little mini explosion happen, like, right around him or whatever, though. And it kind of just, you know, kind of blew away or kind of shook the camera crew and, you know, some of kind of the news reporters that were around there, though. It was kind of really funny just to kind of see this dude kind of like blow up like that, though. And then Misaki was over here kind of standing next to him and was trying to keep saying what she had planned, though. And then she knew, like, you know what, her efforts were like futile or whatever, though. And she was like, dang, I even got outshowed by that dude, though. She was almost sort of kind of feeling a little bit embarrassed at first, though, but then just really kind of felt disappointed that, you know, she basically got outdone by this other dude right over here standing right next to her, though. So the Daihasei festival begins, and as planned earlier, Misaka and Kongo team up to participate in a 3-legged race, and as soon as the race begins, the 2 girls from another team wrap up all the other competitors in these like thin straps of cloth and take the lead, because basically one of the other members that basically like laid out this trap or whatever, though, at the very beginning of this race, basically kind of transformed the asphalt or whatever, though, and was able to basically, you know, wrap all the other members up in it, though. And you know, as a person gets farther away from the original spot where they basically use their Esper related powers, you know, it's going to get weaker or whatever, though. So basically this allowed them to kind of get like a head start at the beginning of the race. However, much later in the race, they too become victims of someone else's supernatural abilities and fall back. Now apparently one of the other people that were participating in this race, they had talked to some hamsters, like they got like telepathy, talking with animals or something like that, though. These hamsters jumped out of a tree and managed to kind of like, you know, land on the girls or whatever, though, squirm, kind of, you know, move around within their clothes or whatever, though, and then managed to steal 2 pieces of oh my gosh, 2 pieces of their clothing. And I was like, what the heck? And the girls were just like traumatized, like, what, we let these little hamsters do this to us? Like, what the heck? At first it would seem like, you know, they were gonna actually go for like what was gonna be their ankle bracelet that kind of kept both of the kept the 2 members that were competing in the race together, because, you know, if that strap were to break between the 2, then, you know, they're automatically disqualified, though. So to see the kind of little plot twist up in that, though, oh my gosh, that was funny, and I kind of lost myself for a moment, though. I was like, good gracious sakes alive. And then Misaka, and then later down the road, Misaka eventually puts her own abilities to good use with some help from her teammate. And, you know, they were basically able to win the race, because there was one moment where, you know, these dudes, they were spinning around the corner, and one of them actually managed to touch the ground or whatever, though, and change the coefficients. So basically, like, they ignore friction and all of that. And a lot of people, you know, a couple of other members slid, and they were basically out of the race. But Misaka was able to use her electrical powers, swing around the pole, and then come back and land on the track. And then the other dudes were like, all right, well, it's time to, you know, kick off our shoes, and we're about to leave y'all in the dust. And they took their shoes off, and then, like, they were acting like they were ice skating or whatever, though. And then another person was able to kind of change some elements within the air to basically make themselves like a human rocket, and just, you know, take a straight line bullet to the finish line or whatever, though. However, it was in that moment they partially somehow kind of messed that up, and they were about to fly out of bounds, but it was thanks to Misaka as well as Kongo, and they were able to kind of launch like sort of kind of like a cushion-ish thing to basically, you know, catch them from basically falling on what would be like an innocent girl that was just kind of, you know, watching the race or whatever, though. Launched them back into the race. However, you know, they were knocked out or whatever, though, and Misaka basically told them, hey, no matter what you did, I was basically gonna one-up you no matter what you did, because I had something planned in store for y'all. But, you know, you managed to mess up on your own. So, yeah, you kept my hands pretty clean, though. And, you know, it was nice to kind of see those 2 win, despite, you know, all the craziness that basically went down within that competition. And that's just the kind of fun nature thing about this whole entire sports festival, is just seeing the various different amount of people that are competing in these competitions, and then being able to use their Esper-related powers to be able to kind of enhance themselves in order to kind of compete to a higher level degree than just, you know, we just seeing like an anime with just, you know, normal people, you know, just running track and field or doing something like that on that degree, though. So after the conclusion of the race, Shirai gets really mad when she watches the race on television and wishes that she could have teamed up with Misaka instead of Kongo. And it was kind of funny because, you know, she was just kind of raging and going all super crazy or whatever, though. And she was like, man, you know what? Hey, you know what? I just really wish that was me in there instead of Kongo, because then I could have been right next to my quote-unquote sissy. You know, that's the term that she basically calls Misaka, though. But she said I could have been right next to my sissy and, you know, been able to, you know, bask in all of that glory right next to her, you know, hand in hand or whatnot, though. And it was kind of funny to kind of see her react like this, though. But meanwhile, while Kuroko was still raging at the thought that could have been her within that competition next to Misaka, we see this mysterious young woman who was trying to use a communication-like device, but Satan walked over there to be able to assist her, and she said, oh, you know what, if you hit this one button, it'll be able to, you know, pop something out, and you'll be able to check back within your recent call history or whatever, though. And then it was weird because for a second, Satan looked at her and was like, wait a minute, don't you look kind of familiar? And right at first, you know, like those two, I was like, for a second I was thinking, wait, is this like her, like a weird or different kind of looking sister? Or is this like her cousin or something like that? Like, is she somehow related to the girl? Or, you know, Satan is usually kind of like a super, like, she's usually like a detective to a degree. She's always kind of digging up those rumors within Academy City and things like that. And you know what, maybe she kind of heard like a news report or something like that about this woman or who she really is or whatever, though. But the woman kind of like shies up, kind of, you know, tries to not kind of show her face or not too much, though. Act like she was kind of startled or whatever, though. And then eventually, you know, Kuroko calls Satan back and says, you know what, we need to go. And, you know, as soon as Satan basically left, she got on the phone and she was like, yeah, you know, things are good. I was able to kind of infiltrate and get into Academy City. So I think this is kind of like the first little glimpse at what we get to see in terms of like a plot developing. Like, whoever this major antagonist is, or whoever's one that's pulling the strings behind in the background, though, we're starting to get the little bit of seeds from the fruits of their labor in terms of them basically planting out these seeds in terms of what could be the major goal or drive for the antagonists for what they're trying to accomplish within this first arc of this season of Railgun T. So that's just something that we all had to kind of keep in mind, though. Misaka later visits the hospital, and that's where Satan and Uriharu shower her with compliments based upon, you know, the achievements that Misaka was able to pull off within that three-legged race. And soon after this, Misaka's mom shows up there. Now, we saw Misaka's mom before. If you've seen the Magical Index series side of things, the mainline ones, we seen her before, and we got to see, you know, how funny Misaka's mom can really be, though. But Satan, Uriharu, and Misaka's mom get together and ends up embarrassing Misaka by addressing her relationship with some boy of the school. And Misaka's mom basically stated, oh, you know what, that dude that both of y'all are talking about over there, yeah, I saw that boy earlier. Misaka was talking to him. It seems like to be like an older high school student. And it was sort of kind of like a little bit of like a gossip, like the gossiping, like they were up in like a little tiny little mini huddle. And then we got to see Misaka over there on the side, just kind of like taking this all in. And she's like, wait, what the heck? Like, there's three of them against me? Like what did I do to deserve this? And oh my gosh, I just started laughing and enjoying my butt, because, you know, and the dude that they're obviously talking about is no other than Toma, who, you know, that's the boy that Misaka basically has a crush on at this point, though. And it was just kind of funny to kind of see this, though, because I really ship those two. Like, you know, anytime those two are kind of reacting, though, it's always kind of funny to see Misaka's reaction like that, though. I've been missing that little crave right there, though, but honestly, I really enjoyed that one little moment right there between Misaka's mom and her couple of friends. The episode also features Misaka's clone, who feels really alienated and distant from the, you know, the world around her. And two other girls off of the track team end up spotting her and assuming that she's the real Misaka, and they even give her a new track uniform and expect her to compete for them. Now Misaka will have to somehow distract her teammates and find a way to replace herself with the clone, because that was kind of strange, because, you know, Misaka was basically, you know, zipping off using her powers to kind of get back to Tokyo Dai to kind of get her uniform changed, because, you know, it got really messed up based upon her previous race or whatever, though. And then she was rushing back, barely trying to get there on time, and, you know, obviously, you know, a couple of the other girls from her school confused her clone with her actual self, and now she's kind of about to get up into the competition, and now she's going to have to kind of figure out a way how to kind of get herself back up in there, because she was basically keeping the clones on like on the DL or whatever, though. She didn't want to let too many people know that, you know what, I basically have like this twin clone that sort of kind of looks similar to me. Like she was trying to keep all of that under wraps or whatever though. So it's kind of interesting to see how they're going to be able to handle this within the next episode though. And lastly, near the very end of the episode, we get to see one guy talking to another girl who is a member of the Dark Side outfit who is directly under the governing board. Now we didn't know exactly like what all of that basically entailed though, but I can basically tell just right off the bat this dude is up to no good. Not necessarily don't know if he's like, so to say, evil or whatever though, because the tone of it, like the music didn't change into like a dark tone or whatever though, but it seems like this dude could be up to no good, basically trying to cheat the competition or whatever though to kind of make himself win though, or he might have some ulterior motives that we don't know about yet beyond what could be sabotaging for just this one event though. But we'll basically have to see how all of this plays out within the next episode though. And that's basically it in terms of what all basically happened within this episode of Railgun T. So if y'all really like this review, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell to keep up to date on all things A Certain Scientific Railgun T. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode from start to finish though. We're just having like a good cheerio time, just having a cozy little time, just kind of seeing all these different kind of characters react or whatever though, just having fun with the various different sporting events that they had to participate in to represent their schools though. So overall, I've been really enjoying it though. But let me know down in the comment section below what all you thought about this episode as a whole though, and if you're really looking forward to the next episode though. So make sure to tune in next week for my episode 3 review of A Certain Scientific Railgun T called Balloon Hunter. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
Well, he sounds confident, doesn't he? I guess I should expect as much from member the Dark Side outfit directly under the governing board. But I'll reserve judgment until I see what he's actually capable of.